The courtroom was silent, yet heavy with unspoken tension. Everyone's eyes darted between the trembling young woman clutching her swollen belly and the elegantly dressed woman standing defiantly across from her. The sound of the judge's gavel moments earlier still echoed faintly, like a heartbeat marking the start of a storm. It was a day no one would ever forget, a day where truths would shatter lives and rewrite destinies. Suddenly, the pregnant woman gasped, her face pale as snow, and before anyone could react, she collapsed to the cold wooden floor. Gasps filled the room. The man beside her dropped to his knees, shouting her name, while the mistress, dressed in striking red, froze in disbelief, her lips trembling as if she couldn't decide whether to smirk or scream. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Diaries. Your support helps us bring powerful real-life stories like this to light, reminding the world that compassion still exists. Her name was Emily Carter, a 28-year-old woman who had once dreamed of nothing more than a simple, happy life. She had grown up in a small town, where she met David Miller, a charismatic, ambitious young man with big dreams of starting his own business. Their love story began like a fairy tale. He was her first love, her protector, the one who promised to always stand by her side. They married after 3 years of dating, and soon after, Emily became pregnant with their first child. For Emily, it was the happiest news of her life, a sign that their little family was about to grow and their future was secure. But what Emily didn't know was that David had been hiding a dark secret. For months, he had been entangled in an affair with Samantha Blake, a wealthy, glamorous woman who came from a powerful family. Samantha wasn't just any other woman, she was the kind of person who always got what she wanted, no matter who she hurt along the way. At first, David told himself it was just a temporary mistake, a distraction. But soon, Samantha began demanding more time, more attention, and eventually, more commitment. Everything came crashing down one rainy evening when Emily found a message on David's phone. It was a single line from Samantha: "I can't wait until she's out of the picture. You belong with me." Emily's heart shattered that night. She confronted David through tears and disbelief. He tried to explain, claiming it meant nothing, but Emily knew deep down that the man she loved had betrayed her. The stress of that confrontation caused Emily to experience severe abdominal pain, and she was rushed to the hospital. Though the baby survived, the doctors warned her that any more stress could put her life, and her baby's, at risk. Emily wanted to leave, to walk away and never look back. But then came the cruel twist: Samantha claimed she was pregnant too. She insisted that David was the father of her unborn child, and to make matters worse, she filed a legal case demanding child support and recognition. David denied her claims, but Samantha was relentless, threatening to destroy David's reputation and business if he didn't comply. Emily was devastated. It wasn't just about her marriage anymore. It was about protecting her child, her future, and her dignity. Against her better judgment, Emily decided to fight. She gathered her strength, hired a lawyer, and prepared for what would become the most harrowing courtroom battle of her life. The day of the trial arrived. Emily, now 8 months pregnant, walked into the courtroom, her steps heavy with fear and exhaustion. David stood beside her, looking conflicted and broken, while Samantha sat across from them, poised and confident in a crimson dress that seemed to symbolize the blood she was willing to spill to get what she wanted. The air was thick with tension as friends, family, and curious onlookers filled the seats, all eager to witness the scandal unfold. The judge, a stern man with decades of experience, began the proceedings. Samantha's lawyer painted a picture of a poor, mistreated woman who had been deceived and abandoned by a heartless man. She claimed Samantha was carrying David's child and deserved justice. Emily's lawyer countered with evidence showing Samantha's manipulative behavior, her past relationships, and her attempts to blackmail David. But at the heart of it all lay one critical piece of evidence: the DNA test. The judge announced that the test results had been verified and would determine the truth once and for all. The room went silent. Emily gripped David's hand, her breath shallow. Samantha tilted her chin upward, a smirk playing at her lips. The envelope was opened, and the judge began to read. The words hung in the air like a guillotine ready to fall. The results of the paternity test indicate, with 99.9% certainty, that David Miller is not the father of Samantha Blake's child. For a split second, there was silence, the kind of silence that precedes an explosion. Then, chaos erupted. Samantha's face drained of color. Her smirk vanished, replaced by wide-eyed shock. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the courtroom as people tried to process what they'd just heard. Emily turned to David, tears streaming down her face, a mixture of relief and heartbreak. The weight she had been carrying for months seemed to lift, if only slightly. But just as she tried to take a deep breath, Emily's vision blurred. The emotional and physical toll of the moment overwhelmed her, and she collapsed to the ground. David dropped to his knees, cradling her head and shouting for help. "Emily! Stay with me. Somebody call a doctor." The judge pounded his gavel, ordering calm as paramedics rushed into the room. Samantha stood frozen, her hands trembling, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. For the first time, she seemed truly powerless. As Emily was lifted onto a stretcher, her hand weakly reached for David's. "Please," she whispered, barely audible, "take care of our baby." David's eyes filled with tears. He realized, in that moment, the magnitude of what he had almost lost. The woman who had loved him unconditionally, who had carried his child and fought for their future, lay fragile and broken because of his mistakes. Emily was rushed to the hospital, where doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her and ensure the baby's safety. David never left her side, holding her hand and whispering apologies, praying for a second chance. Meanwhile, Samantha faced her own reckoning. The court, furious with her deception, dismissed her case and fined her heavily for attempting to defraud the system. Her reputation was destroyed, and the powerful allies she once relied on abandoned her. Days later, Emily awoke to the soft cries of her newborn baby. A healthy, beautiful little girl. Tears of joy streamed down her face as she held her daughter for the first time. In that moment, everything else faded away, the pain, the betrayal, the courtroom drama. All that mattered was the tiny miracle in her arms. David, humbled and remorseful, vowed to rebuild their family. He knew forgiveness wouldn't come easily, but he was determined to earn Emily's trust again. Slowly, with counseling and honest conversations, they began to heal. It wasn't perfect, and scars remained, but they moved forward, step by step, guided by love and a shared commitment to their child's future. As for Samantha, she left town in disgrace. No longer the confident, untouchable woman she once was, she was forced to confront the consequences of her lies. Perhaps, somewhere down the road, she too would find redemption, but for now, she was left with nothing but regret. This story is a powerful reminder that truth has a way of coming to light, no matter how deeply it's buried. It's a testament to the strength of a woman who refused to let lies define her, and to the resilience of love in the face of unimaginable pain. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to Kindness Diaries so we can continue sharing stories of hope, forgiveness, and second chances. Your support means the world to us and helps keep these stories alive. Before we end, we have a special request. Please comment below with the word hope if you believe in healing, redemption, and the power of truth. Emily's journey wasn't easy, but it shows that even in our darkest moments, there is always a path forward, and sometimes, the most beautiful beginnings come after the most painful endings.